to episode 15. What we're going to be doing this episode is talking about marketing, community, commitment. I'm Roger Curlin. This is Miguel Miranda. We're going to take you through this episode. The concept or the thrust of this discussion and the thrust of community commitment stands for marketing your business by partnering up with local not-for-profits, civic groups, other businesses, be they faith-based charities. There's just all of these great organizations in town that you can partner up with as a hospitality organization. And as I am wont to say, what you get will be so much more than you give. This is definitely an amplification action, if there ever was one. We're in very unusual times where every sector of the community, be it businesses, government, charity, civic, everybody's facing the triple crisis of a health crisis, a financial crisis, and a crisis of uncertainty. So we're all in the same boat together. And I like to tell folks out there, I understand that these aren't the times where we feel like we're flush with money and time and all this. Well, I can't give right now, right? I'm looking to survive. But it's not always about having to give your time and your money. Sometimes it's just about giving your heart and your support. And I will also tell you, this will return to you in multifold. So this is not a one-way street. This is definitely a two-way street. And so, Miguel, I know you, and what has added to our partnership over the years is knowing what a giving person you are and how important that is to you. Talk a little bit about how involving the community is important, especially as it comes from your value set.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Roger. Really appreciate that. Two things you got to know and understand is, first and foremost, as a business leader, you're in a position, a honored position that says you get to give. I think you've got to take that posture. I get to give because of the situation I'm in. And the second part you got to remember is that you've got to give to get. Yeah. And if you remember those two things, they'll help kind of clean up and really focus in where the conversation is, where if your values are that I'm going to take the most I can from this community and for myself, odds are short term you'll win, long term you'll be out of business. But if your values are that I'm here to solve a problem for this community, and the problem is maybe they don't have a great pizza joint, or maybe they just have a great place to congregate, and have community cafe and what kind of thing. And so I've started this business because I really care about the community. Then you have to engage that community somehow. And what better way than is to support the things that make it so rich, whether it's the arts, whether it's the schools, or some of these nonprofits that are taking care of the less advantaged. Those are the things the reason why you started this community. So if you've, again, take the posture that you get to give because of the business you've been, have been trusted with. Right. And the fact that the life truth, I've never seen it disproven that when you give, it comes back and folds. It makes all the sense. And now in this world of COVID-19, where there's so much need, it really is not a shortage of places you can get involved in because now everyone's asking for it. And so now is the time to actually look back and think, okay, where does my heart break? What is the thing that I'm really passionate about? And the reason I say that is not because other organizations or other situations may not be needy, but you need to get yourself in the area that you're willing to give as much you possibly can, not because you'll get something in return. Habitat for Humanity has built hundreds of thousands of homes since the 70s, and they've never paid a single volunteer. Right. And how did that accomplish? Because the people who went to it, whether they were just bringing lumber around or actually building, the craftspeople have a passion for people to have housing. Right. And so your mentality is, I'm going to give to this organization through my business because I actually have a passion for it, regardless if I get anything back in return. And the more you do that, the better results you're going to have, both the impact you're going to make as well as what's hopefully down the road come back and help you with.
Absolutely. And what you talk about, that heart, that passion, it's not only the owner's passion and the GM's passion, but look at the team. What is it the team wants to focus on and where are their passion points? I've seen some of the best collaborative action coming out of a staff person having a connection with an organization. You've said it, I've said it, don't let money be the driver on this, right? So it's about doing something that resonates with you. Money can be part of the equation. I have no problems with looking at the ROI for being involved with an organization. Just don't let that be the driver of what you're going to be doing. I also believe, you believe it as well, don't do a shotgun approach. You don't want to try to help all these different organizations, and you're just giving a little bit to a lot. Really try to hone in on one or a handful where you can give really deep commitment of your heart and your passion, and your team's heart and your passion. We get it. You've got limited resources as owners. The time, the energy, the money, but you can't help everyone. There's endless causes out there, especially right now, that need help. And so picking those that resonate with you is really, really important. The connection that happens when you team up with a charity or an organization is real, but only if you make it real. Just writing a check and sending it off in the mail, the impact, yes, the not-for-profits love the check, and they won't turn the check down. But to me, there's more impact than that. And you owe it to yourself as a business to engage more than that.
Right. Well, there's a hat that you're going to have to wear at some point in respects to the marketing side. So if you have unlimited funds, then yes, never think about it. But since we have limited funds, even the Googles of the world have limited funds, right. There's a hat you're going to look at, it's ROI, which we talked in the past, is right. How do I get my return on investment on this donation right. That I'm going to give? And I would say a lot of times you're not going to get a one-for-one, or you may not even recognize that things are right. happening, but you are going to look at what is going to be that return on investment. And I will tell you that the return on investment is going to come in when you invest into something, truly invest into it. So let's back up a little bit in respect to what's happening right now with COVID. Mm-hmm. We talked about it in a few episodes past on the broadline vendors, like the US Foods and the Cisco's and those guys. They are having a shortage of food right now, as we know, and then things are starting to come back in line. But when there was a real shortage, who were they taking care of? They were taking care of the customers that were there primarily with them. Not the ones that were shopping around and seeing what Restaurant Depot had and what Cisco had and what US Foods and Gordon's had and buying a little bit from everybody and really picking how much money they're paying for everything. Right. They're saying, hey, you know what, I'm a US Foods guy, so I'm going to work with you, and yeah, I may buy a few things somewhere else, but I'm going to be with you. Right. And so during this time period, US Foods saying, Miguel, I'm going to come with you. We're going to help you out right. because you've been loyal to us. That is the same philosophy from working right. with a nonprofit that you're going to invest in. And what I mean by that is they also have limited resources mm-hmm. on how they market, what they say, and so they recognize that you are a champion of theirs. Odds are when they push things out to their membership base, to their followers, they're going to say, shop at Rogers or mm-hmm. dine at Rogers because Rogers has invested in our organization. They're going to give you that podium. And that may or may not give you more business, but it's something that's a little clout that helps you out. You can say, okay, there is a business case for this. And by no means I've seen people give away millions when they thought about it. That's fine, but if you're looking from a business point of view, the reason for giving and who to give to is don't spread it around. Try to narrow it down. That way you can leverage that power down the road from a relationship, not from a control, but it's more from a relationship.
Right. I also think it's not just about you getting exposure as a business, it's inspiring your staff and inspiring other people. I mean, some of the best, what I call charity mountains have come from inspiring others to do what you are doing. So don't discount that at all. I think getting the team and guests, customers, your fan base involved in that charity is a great way to do volunteering and to create a sense of family, connectedness. I also like to talk about creatively creating an impact. So we all know the standard ways that restaurants and hospitality can engage with businesses in town because we watch it and we've probably done it. Get creative with that. There's no greater joy that can be created in organizations by being creative. When you create uniqueness, you create an opportunity for that story to travel further, farther, and bigger than you would if you just did the same thing over and over again. The best one of the best ways to inspire, to get that thought going, is to look at other communities and things that might be going on non-locally, but that you feel are great ideas, right. And then you can borrow off that, play off of that. So that's a good way to get inspiration. Oftentimes those businesses will share with you how they did it, right? They're not competing with you in Austin, Texas, right? And so and people like talking about themselves and what they've done, especially in the aspect of giving. So creatively creating an impact, really focus on that. We've said it a little bit, but I want to go back into it, Miguel, about engaging the organization. I always feel like you've got to hold one or more discussions with the organization's team and leadership to really get to know how best you can plug in, right? Get their wish list, but really get to know their leaders and what they need. I see it too transactional sometimes, and you can't get that. So what are your thoughts on how to engage the organization?
Yeah. First I would say is look back for yourself how much money you gave away last year. And that's in gift cards, that is in hard cash, that is in volunteer, free food, whatever. Look at it and add it all up. I would guess to say that if your restaurant does $750,000 to $1 million a year, you probably gave out somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000 worth of stuff. So if you take that $10,000 for this year, from moving forward from here, and say, okay, I'm only going to invest in one organization. And let's say, it's my restaurant, I'm going to invest in Roger's nonprofit, and I'm going to get Roger $10,000. Would that be different than the conversation you had last year with everyone you gave all that stuff to, which probably you did like, oh yeah, I'll give you, here's a gift card for $50, and you don't think twice about it. Of course you would, because now you're investing $10,000. I'm not saying make sure he's worthy of it. It's more so because I already love his cause. I love what he's trying to do, so my heart's already there. But I want to find out, how does that $10,000 go further? You probably hear it on NPR or some of these, nonprofit radios, the radiothons, where they're basically saying, hey, there's a matching grant. Okay, so what is that doing? That person who's giving, say, $100,000 or $10,000, saying, I'll give you $10,000 if you can find more people to give $10,000. That's a creative way of saying, how do I make my money go further? Right. So this is kind of a conversation I'm going to have with a nonprofit. What are you trying to accomplish? What's this money going to? How can I solve what you're doing? And I've had situations in the past where I've talked to people and they're like, well, we're doing a soup kitchen and we really want to help these out, and we think you guys could help us out. And I can give you the money, but I can probably give you some other things to fulfill that, and then that money can be used for something else. Right. So a lot is having those conversations about what is it, the real need that you have, so my impact's going to be there. Now, it's not because I want my money going further, it's because I actually have a heart for what you're doing, and so I'm giving that much energy and effort and time to you guys. And the next thing I'm going to find out to do is, okay, what else are you guys doing? If you're a national organization, is happening elsewhere? How can we help promote? What are you going to do? What's your side of this? Because it is a two-way street. If I'm giving you $10,000 and a bunch of my staff time, then what are you guys going to do? And how are we going to market this? If it's going to be an event, how are we going to market it to your followership base? And generally, most nonprofits, if they actually have a bigger social media following than most businesses. Why? Because it's a nonprofit. It's a cause-based situation. And so if you can leverage some of that to make this event even more successful. I used to run a charity golf tournament back in the day from one of the restaurants I ran. And when it got handed to me from my predecessor, they were doing pretty good. I think they raised in one day, it was something like $20,000, $30,000. And my goal was, I want to raise $200,000 off of 1 day of golf. It changed when I put that goal out there. They're like, whoa, how are you going to do that? Well, we had to think differently with the organization we were working with about how we structured the whole entire thing. And we did. We got to actually $250,000, in 1 day's golf outing. But it wasn't the same mentality, nothing against our predecessors, just they started something and we evolved it to something else. And it comes down by thinking differently and collaborating with the organization, how we can leverage some power there.
1,000%. So the underlying goes under that collaborating, involving their team, involving their leadership, but making sure that they're having their end of the bargain in whatever gets done, because at the end of the day, I have seen imbalanced relationships where the organization doesn't do proper marketing, et cetera, and it doesn't come out well for either of the parties. Typically, the biggest way that organizations raise money is events. Guess what they can't do right now? Events. So really thinking creatively and how you can help is huge. The types of organizations you can get involved with, and most of this is kind of like we're preaching to the choir that's already singing. hopefully what we're doing is creating some ideas to sing some different songs or bring more people to the choir. But if you haven't thought about it in a while, local chambers are great. They are the ones that are at the forefront of information dissemination right now for many, many people on what's going on with COVID. Faith-based charities often rely on their congregations' giving to supply the money that they need to do some of the hardest work in communities, whether it's homelessness, hunger, domestic violence, and a lot of those faith-based organizations have seen their revenue plummet, right? So the great organizations in town. Local business organizations are helping the mom and pop survive right now with training and webinars and things like that. They often depend on memberships or local government support. That's being flowed away as well. So great groups, issue charities, health, kids, pets, we could go on. You certainly can create your own mission and your own contribution from scratch. But why do that when you can pair up with somebody and amplify the message? So Miguel, I'm going to toss it back to you to talk about collaborating with other businesses. And as you call it, the power of 1 + 1 = 3. I agree.
Yeah, it's, as has been said, there's nothing new under the sun, and a lot of organizations or businesses are already supporting certain nonprofits or certain causes. And so really when you talk to these organizations you want to get involved with, ask them, hey, who's currently supporting you? And then get a list of those businesses and then call them and say, hey, what are you guys doing? Because, hey, you've got a little bit of time and energy and money, and so do I. How about we pair up and we can really do something special? I'll tell you two things. If they say, well, no, it's our thing, then they're really doing it more for themselves and for marketing and not really have a heart for it, find a different organization. Right. But odds are, if they're really invested in that organization, they're probably going to want to partner with you and collaborate. Yeah, I look at it, let's say if Roger's business and my business are going to collaborate on something, I may look at, hey, how many followers you have and how is this really going to lay out? Who's got a stronger marketing arm? Maybe yours is better than mine, so let's funnel through your side. But it's really about collaborating to the cause. Again, we start off first with, we have a heart for this. Both of us do. So let's put our energy and assets together and how do we make this bigger and better? And yeah, put your ego aside on this one.
And with the businesses, Miguel, what we look at in that respect is it does get to be a little bit more transactional, right? I don't have a passion for t-shirts, but wouldn't it be cool as a restaurant? I've got 75% of my indoor space I can't use right now. Is setting up a pop-up display of a local t-shirt maker where we can put all of their swag there, and then at their brick and mortar, they can have coupons or they can give something in the bags for their customers, and we collaborate on social media. So, I feel like you can collaborate with other businesses, industry specific, geographically specific. Everybody in our little strip mall, we're all going to get together, we're going to collaborate. Or maybe it's, like I said, just picking a unique business that you feel like you guys partner up and you can amplify your message together. And there's a lot of power that comes out of this anxiety and this stress of what we're going through, because people are going to remember those that they collaborate with.
I'll tell you what, probably the best example that I can look at right now, or not the best, but one really good example is actually what we're doing right now. This video series is free. It's free to the community that we care about. You and I have a huge heart for the restaurant industry, nationally, but locally. We work with it. But we're coming to this under several different flags. Obviously, as owner of Club Savor, the biggest and, in my opinion, best dining club here in Pinellas, and over 65 restaurants that you care about, and thousands of diners every single day that were part of that world pre-COVID, and we're doing this. My business, my Restaurant CFO, we work with restaurant groups from a financial point of view. Universities, St. Pete, South Florida, coming together for their hospitality leadership program, saying we really want to be part of this community and help it come together. And Big C, who we need a space to record all this, and really, we're not talented in this area, and they graciously said, you know what, we'll donate our time and energy and space to record and edit and put it out there and put it on social media. And so here's 4 organizations coming together for one cause that if I had tried to do this by myself, I couldn't have pulled it off, and you've had to say, what do we know? And so this is use of of knowledge, of resources that really push something together because we have a common cause.
Yeah, one of the things that we talk about that's a common theme through what we discuss, Miguel. Who is reaching my brand's audience, right? Who do I need to collaborate? It's not going to do either business much good if we have diametrically opposed audiences and we're trying to collaborate, right? So make that list of businesses that are speaking to the same audience that you want to speak to. Those are going to make the best fit, and that the hand is going to go right in the glove. You must market your involvement. Gone are the days of oh, well, I'm just going to do it. And no, you have to invest in the marketing of this as well. And that doesn't necessarily mean money or time. These are simple things to do, but you need to get the message out. Both you and your collaborative partner need to get the message out. Social media, certainly. Make that unique story, the news will pick it up. Now, as the owner, as the GM, you can reach right to those local publications wherever you're at across the country. If you feel uncomfortable tooting your own horn, get somebody on your team to do it, or get somebody at that other business or that organization to do it. But reach out to the free media. They love a good story. You've created the story. Let the power of it get out there, again, to inspire others. Don't be scared to hang plaques, to put up stories that you've laminated on the wall. If your wall gets too full, cycle that stuff out. Customers love to see a group that's connected to the community. And not everybody walks into your restaurant knows the story behind what you do and what your passions are. But there's often times where every time I go into a restaurant, if they've got a wall, I'm going over and looking at it. And I'm seeing where their heart is, where their alignments are at. So don't be ashamed, or please put those up there. You have to do that. Miguel, give me some of your final thoughts, and then I'll weigh in as well.
Kind of you're saying there about sharing it. I think that it does a couple of things. One, in the prior episode, we talked about inspiring your team. Mm-hmm. I want to know the company I work for, what they're doing with the money that's coming in. And I want to know what's happening. So sometimes the people you're inspiring are your own team members and saying, hey, this is what we're about. This is the kind of organization we are. This is why we work so hard. And sometimes we have the profits, so we can go and help and impact the community. Yeah. And the other part is it part of your brand? And it brings you back to a company we discussed in the prior episode, Mission Barbecue, which is actually from Baltimore, or from Maryland. It's two former Outback managers who started the company. They have multiple units up there and eventually made it down here to Florida. But it's a military, police, first responders based, motif and feel. They even have the big military truck out front with a barbecue truck. But it's interesting, they have a cup you can buy for your soda. It's refillable. But if the money goes towards wounded warriors, they do the Pledge of Allegiance every single day at noon. They stop and they support the local police benevolence associations, and the fire and all this kind of thing. I think they give them discounts. And what I'm getting at, that one is they follows the brand. Everything they're doing, it is crystal clear who they're supporting, how supporting them. And if you look at their places, they're packed all the time. They do well, and the people that eat there feel the same way. They want to support, the firemen and the paramedics and the first responders, and the military that are out there, serving the country. That's the mentality behind it. And so, whatever you do, look at it. Does it fit my brand and what we're trying to do? And I think that's one of the big pieces you're going to take a look at.
Well, and as you say, invest in people, invest in people, right? So there's a dual investment. Helping out right now in these times. So everything is bigger. Everything is very, very heightened right now. Those organizations that you step up and help right now, they will never forget you doing that for them right now. It will leave an indelible mark on that organization and on the leaders of that organization. So I think that's huge. I'll never forget listening to a local restaurateur. And he said when he's having a hard day, he's having that challenge, as the industry throws at us, he gathers his family up and he goes and he gives. He'll cook food at his restaurant and go and take that to a homeless shelter, or they'll clean the beach, or they'll do something to give back to the community because it refills his spirits. I goosebumps. I'll never forget that what a magnificent philosophy to have. And that's kind of what we're talking about today. And as you said, you've got the ability to give back. You're a business owner. You're a business leader. And I'll repeat it from earlier. I know everyone's feeling like I'm the one that needs help right now, and our organizations do. We get that. But I have a philosophy. No matter what's going on with me, there's somebody that's got it worse and somebody else that needs help. And if I can pull them up, it's helping me.
It's perfect. And if you read any psychology books, and especially around depression, the number one thing you could be doing when you're depressed is to serve. They tell you, every therapist tells you, get out of the house and go volunteer somewhere. Yeah. And right now, as a country, as a world, we're all in this somewhat of a depressed mode, especially as business owners. We're wondering, when are we going to get back to not normalcy, but just be able to operate in a normalcy and reopen back up again. And we're taking our bumps, and financially and health-wise, and just all these things are happening. And if it's good for an individual to go serve, then I think it's good as a business right now is to go serve. So go look at your business right now, saying where, doesn't matter how small it is, serve in any way you possibly can. Don't do the money, but just go be there. It will change the perspective and the mentality of for you and your organization.
I love that. So this is really, the community commitment. I feel like it's the best marketing dollars that somebody could spend, and that comes from the heart and the passion. So thank you all for being here for episode 15. Look forward to more content next week. Thank you very much.